Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, a podcast for and by successful business people who also deal with the pain and frustration of chronic illness. Here's Nancy Becker.
I am really excited to have this particular guest on with us today. Her name is Adanna Austin, and I am going to welcome her and let her tell you a little bit about herself so that you can see from her why I'm so excited. Good morning, Adanna.
Good morning, Nancy. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for allowing me the opportunity to share my message. I'm Adanna Austin. I am from the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago in the sunny Caribbean.
Yay!
And I am a business coach and consultant. And what I do, I work with entrepreneurs to get them really clear on their goals, identify their ideal clients, and develop the strategies to grow their business. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
Sounds wonderful. And it sounds so much better than if I had read it.
True.
I used to go, okay, and I've got this piece of paper out here and I'm reading and I go, that just sounds so boring. Tell us in your own words what
in your own words. It's always better in your own words.
Always it is. And again, I would like to welcome you. And I know that we were talking a few days ago and I got really excited about your message and how it can help my listeners. And I'm going to just jump right in and talk about, normally you guys know that I don't do a lot of talking about mindset. Mindset is there for other people to talk about. But I think in this case, I do want to talk about it because when we are trying to run businesses and trying to keep them successful and vibrant and thriving, and all we want to do is take a nap because we don't feel good.
Oh, yes.
You know?
Every other day.
Yeah. That is really, really, really hard. And we need to not only find the tools, the technical things and stuff of, using this particular piece of software, creating this kind of automation. We need to do all of those things. But deep down inside, it's even more basic than that. It's, why do I even get out of bed this morning?
Yes.
I didn't feel good this morning and I went, come on, Nancy, you got to get up.
Yes. I had that day yesterday. Gosh.
So we have choices.
Yes, we do.
And our choices are, we can either, and I this just came into my head and I think it's funny because of flying pigs, but we can either choose to wallow in our disabilities, our aches, our pains, our angers, or whatever, or we can say they're there, they're never really going to go away.
Oh yeah.
But I don't have to live with them ruining and running my
everything. Life. Exactly. Yeah. You have to make some decisions, some tough decisions sometimes, but you have to make some decisions because things have to go on. Life has to go on. Business has to be run. Money has to be made. So we have some tough decisions to make when we are faced with these kind of challenges where we're living with pain and really trying to motivate ourselves to, as you said, get up every morning even though you may not be feeling 100%. Your body is fighting against you. You have to find that will to get up, and you have to find different tools. Everybody has different tools that they use. But you have to find the tool that is right for you. And I'm glad that you're talking mindset because for me, I do a mixture of mindset and a mixture of productivity tools.
I knew that.
Yeah. That really helps me. So on a day like yesterday, which was hard for me, because I had those things in place, I still had a productive day. I didn't have an active day because I sat on the couch all day, but my business was still productive, right?
Right. So,
And that's important.
so talk to us, give us a description
Mhm.
of what that day looked like for you. What were the things you did to get you through that day productively?
Okay. Well, on a usual day when I'm not feeling 100%, one of the first things I do, I work on my mindset first, right? Because I know that once I get my mind right, I could execute the other things, right? So I do a lot of affirmations and journaling and meditation. I do that for at least half an hour to an hour every day. And it really depends on what my mood is like. I don't have any strict thing that I follow. I just go with the flow. You know what I mean? So I do a lot of affirmations that I actually say out loud, because I believe that you have to say it out loud for it to register in your brain and not just say it in your head. Right? I know people think I'm mad because I'm standing in the mirror and I'm saying, I'm beautiful, I'm wonderful, I'm pain free, I'm
I
but
hear you.
I
I do
I
it
have to
too.
say it. Yeah, I have to say it out loud. And then I do a lot of journaling where I write my future. You know what I mean? I write exactly what I envision is going to happen in my life in the present tense. Um, and once I do that kind of mindset work and really be consistent with that, adding the other tools allows me to be productive, because without that, I would literally just lie down on the couch and, as you say, wallow in my pain, because all I'd be focusing on is I'm not feeling well, I'm not feeling 100%, I have no energy, you know what I mean? I can't function today. And a lot of entrepreneurs who I know are in my position are like me. We live alone, so there's nobody to lean on
Mhm,
physically, I should say, physically,
mhm,
to really help you out. So you have to find that willpower to get up through the pain, get up through the anxieties and the depressions and whatever, and move forward and get stuff done. So as I said, I do my mindset work, and then I go on my phone and I use tools like Asana and stuff, which really helps me stay connected with my team,
mhm.
right? Because I have two virtual assistants, I have a personal assistant, and thank God for them because without them, woo, child, this
You're
whole
preaching
thing,
to the choir here.
this will fall apart, right? So once I was able to just jump into my Asana on my phone, so I could stay on the couch and go on my phone, I could jump into my Asana, give them instructions, let them really, do what they are great at, tap into their zone of genius and just have the ball rolling while I take care of myself physically. You know what I mean? And I think that is really, really important, because a lot of us try to do everything on our own, and we don't like to utilize the tools that are in front of us. There's so many tools that we could use just to make our life more productive and easier, so that everything doesn't have to come to a standstill.
But I'm going to stop you for a second because that's true. But there's
Hmm.
there's there's always a but, isn't there?
Of course, of course, of course.
And I'm going through this right now to
Hmm.
an extent. I am the biggest proponent of finding tools that are going to make your life, your business, everything you do easier.
Yes,
But it is not easy to always figure out how to get those tools to
agreed,
work.
agreed,
I
totally
bought
agree.
a new phone the other day. We're getting ready to move, and my business phone line I've had for like 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm losing that landline when we
Um,
move, and
hmm.
I did not want to lose it. I wanted to, everything I have is under that particular phone number.
Right.
So my choice was to either carry two phones, which I don't want to
Mhm.
do, or to go from an Android, which I've had an Android for, years and years and years and years,
Yes.
or to go to an iPhone.
Yes.
So the iPhones allow you to actually have two phone lines coming into the same.
Yeah, the dual SIMs. Yeah.
You can have
Yeah.
dual SIMs. So I went, Okay. But we have had nothing but
Decisions.
trouble
Yeah.
trying to get that dang phone to work properly.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's some of it was technical because they didn't hook it up properly, but most of it was user error.
Yeah.
And because I didn't know what I was doing. And
Yeah.
I know that down the road I'm going to have everything I want, but I can't get it to do it now. And I'm frustrated and I want to throw that $1,500 phone.
Yeah.
And it is still under warranty, but
yeah. No, and you know what, you are totally correct. There's always a but. Because just yesterday I was having this conversation with my partner because we have, coming from the Caribbean, finding tools is it's much harder than living in the States, because a lot of the tools that are free or a lot of the tools that are affordable that come out of the States are not accessible here. Right? So you're right, finding the tools. So a lot of times I've worked with other coaches who would tell me, just use this, just install this. And I'm like, it's not compatible in the Caribbean. So it's not as easy to say, just use it. Right? So we have to spend a lot of time finding the tools that make sense, right, for our business, like our payment system in the Caribbean, getting like online payments that, that I always say people in the States and Canada and the UK take this thing for granted, but like in the Caribbean, like credit card usage is not high. Paying for things online is still very low.
Interesting. Yeah.
So when you're setting up a business like mine where you want people to pay you via credit card, I had to go through, I would not lie, I had to go through like 5 different types of systems in order to get my own to run smoothly. It's still not the smoothest, but it's a lot easier than it was maybe 3 years ago. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them ask you for like US bank accounts, a US address, all the identification that you all have, but we don't have those things here. Even something as simple as, when you fill out some forms, they ask you for a postal address, right? And a zip code. We don't have zip codes. Right?
Yeah.
So coming from this side of the world, finding the tools sometimes just to make your business run smoothly, it can be a challenge, and we've had to figure out different kinds of workarounds to make that happen for us. So it is a very unique challenge.
Yeah, and I can see if you're already you're dealing with, trying to run your business. You're dealing with aches and pains and this and that and the other thing. And then you add these frustrations on top of it. I can see where someone could very easily say, "Oh, just screw it. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to go sit on the couch and whatever all day." How do you talk to someone, and how do you get them to understand that once we get this figured out, it's gonna work beautifully?
It is. And I mean, sometimes I say some people like to wallow in their pain, right? I am not a proponent of just ignoring your pain,
right,
or ignoring if you're feeling bad. I feel that if you're not feeling well, you have to acknowledge that.
Yep.
I'm not feeling well today. I'm in pain today. I'm not a proponent that if you're in so much pain, you work through it. That might be your body telling you just need to stop for today.
Yep.
Right? And pay attention to that, because you might end up worse. So pay attention to that. But at the same time, understand that once you put these systems in place, once you get the right tools and the right people on your team, that when you have days like this, it's not going to be as frustrating. Because as you say, to have to deal with pain or your anxieties and your depressions like I do, and then have to deal with any kind of technical issues too, it could really make you just throw your hands in the air and walk away from the whole thing. Right?
And we don't want that. We don't want
that. We don't want that. But for my clients, I take them through baby steps. You know what I mean? I really break it down, and I'm like, because I don't feel that we need to bombard them with all the information one time, and they don't need to implement everything one time, but implement it piece by piece and tool by tool. Test it out, make sure you're comfortable with it, because what's comfortable for me might not be comfortable for you. Test it out for a week or two or whatever with your team. And then once you're comfortable with that, then let's move on to another tool, because it can become overwhelming with the amount of tools that we have to use.
True, it can.
Right?
And you know, one of the things that I wind up doing, and I'm trying to start doing this with my team as well. There are things that I know I don't like to do, things that get me frustrated, and I just go, yeah. So I have people on my team that's what they do. So I let them do it. But in the long run, I still need to understand it.
You need to understand it, of course.
So I use a beautiful little tool, and I don't know whether you know about this one or not, but it's called not Zoom, but it's called Loom.
Yes, I do. Yes, I used it just last night.
All right. Well, and you know, that's a wonderful little piece of software, because if you know how to do something, you can jump on that and you can walk through the steps and show another team member, show a client. This is how you use this.
I use that for my clients when I have to show them how to use certain tools and stuff, how to set up. So I use Loom as one of those tools to do that. So
you know, so we're not, and this seems to be an interesting thought, because it keeps running through my head, and I've been talking about this on Facebook all day today, the theme of we're not alone.
No, you know,
we're not doing this by ourselves.
No.
And you know, if you don't know how to do something, you find somebody that doesn't allow them to help you.
I like to call it, let people be in their zone of genius. So my virtual assistants are really excellent at very specific things that I do not like to do, and they love it, they live for it. So I'm like, you focus on that, because that is your zone of genius, and I will focus on the other things. But what they do, which I really appreciate, is that they teach me, right? Because I have to know exactly what's happening as well. I would never be left in the dark. So I teach them certain things, and they teach me in turn. But I really give them the opportunity and the flexibility to live in their zone of genius. Right. And that has helped me grow without even, you know, I don't want to micromanage anybody, and you have no time for that.
No, and it's really difficult when your team is all over the world. I mean, one of my team members is a couple of hours away. Another one's up in Canada. You know, I've got people all over, and that makes it really difficult. There are tools that allow us. You use Asana, I use Slack. Same thing. Just a different, you know, piece of software that we're using.
And you're right, because my main virtual assistant is in the Philippines. So we have a total time difference as well.
Yeah, there, you know, but
so it doesn't matter though, because we have the tools.
Yeah, and it's amazing that, and I think that with this dreaded COVID, that's now everything everybody talks about, it really has given us opportunities that we didn't realize we had before.
Yes, definitely.
And that's the opening up of the world.
Yeah, it has opened our eyes. Because the things were always there, but we just never had an opportunity to use it. We had no reason to really use them, you know. And that's one big thing I found with a lot of my clients in the last 3 months. You know, they have now, before where they were like fighting back or pushing back against using tools, now it's like, is there a tool for that? Is there a tool for that? Everybody wants to use a tool. You know, so it's a good thing. I think it's a fabulous thing.
Yeah, I do too. I think, and that's what my whole business is about, is teaching the tools and the strategies, and I think it's something. But that was another thing that I was talking about earlier yesterday. I think it was I'm getting really involved in some of these questions that people put up, and they're probably saying, "Oh, Nancy, shut up." because I answer their questions, and they maybe didn't want them answered. But the question had something to do with what is it that you think is the hardest, fighting back that you get from your customers. And I think for me, it's people who don't think they need help.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. They don't want you to tell them that there might be something easier out there because, while I've made widgets for 30 years, I know everything there is to know about widgets. But do you know everything there is to know about selling those widgets, about, the pricing of the different parts?
It's the attitude of, I've been doing this all the time, so there's no reason to change, They're not flexible.
Yeah.
They're not flexible. And
so
that's
how do you
very
deal with
true.
something like that?
Yeah, again, I mean, you're right. I get a lot of pushback with that. Unfortunately for me, from a lot of men, more men than women. And I
That's interesting.
Yeah, I just use my own case studies and examples for them to see. I don't tend to argue them through the issue because I have no time
it's
for
not
that
going to do
either.
any good to argue.
Yeah, but for my audience, I share a lot of case studies and I share a lot of examples. And I also ask my clients who have done the stuff that we've spoken about to share their own testimonials about using tools or using different strategies and processes and how it has really helped their own businesses grow. And I think through that, a lot of times they become convinced. Because I had a client like that, a male client like that last October, and he was really, really against everything. And then in March, he came right back because he was following me. He was seeing the examples. He was hearing other people talk about it, the strategies that I was suggesting and, the results that they were getting from it. And and he came right back and was like, Adanna, let's rewind that conversation and let's start working together. So he's a lot more open to it. And I think sometimes people need different types of proof for them to be convinced that something else can actually work.
I think there's a statistic out there that's and it varies depending on who's saying it. Sometimes, it's you have to hear about somebody 7 times, sometimes it's 21 times,
before you make a decision.
Before you make any decisions. And they have to come from different places, they can't just all be from me saying you need to work with me, they have to be you saying it, somebody else.
And that's why I encourage my clients to give their own testimonials and their own reviews, right? So even if they want to call them and talk to them directly to, get a sense of what it was like either working with me or implementing a particular strategy, they are free to do that. You know what I mean? Because they need to be convinced in other ways. Because I'm not going to spend all day trying to convince anybody that this is what you need to do.
I don't have the energy for that.
Girl,
too many other things to do.
Too much things to do.
Yeah.
Too many things to do.
And I think truly that it's like, if you want to work with me, you will find the reasons. Yes. My chasing after you is not gonna do it. You have to come to me. And I very rarely, and we're jumping off into another discussion now, but
the Business Success Unlimited Patreon page is now live. Patreon is a simple way for you to contribute to this podcast every month, and in return, you'll get exclusive benefits such as a monthly live Q&A with Nancy and a business book club. If you're interested in becoming a VI Pig, we would really appreciate your support in keeping our independent production going. You can find a link to our Patreon page at don'twaittillpigsfly.com. Thank you so much.
We just jump all over the place, but I rarely will reach out to somebody and say, hey, I want to friend you.
No, I don't do that either.
People ask to friend me.
Yeah.
And it was funny because this person the other day asked to friend me. And this is really kind of funny. They asked to friend me, and I looked, and they were a business consultant or a coach or something. And they, well, you never know. I'm very willing to friend somebody if I think they might down the road be a fit of some sort or other. So I said, okay, let's see where this takes us. Last night I got a message from him saying hello, and he asked me how long I had been an entrepreneur. And this shows you that he had not done his research.
He'd not done his homework.
He'd not done his research because I said 35 plus years. The next thing I know was there's an O, and he deleted every single message he had sent to me. He had unfriended me. You know, and he's gone. I cannot find him on Facebook.
Because a lot of them are just concerned about selling to you. They're not concerned about building that relationship with you. And I get that a lot on LinkedIn and stuff, where people just, add you as a connection, and as soon as they add you, they start to sell to you. And you're right, they don't even take the time to go through your profile to see what you're doing, what kind of posts you've shared, who you're interacting with. They just come in and sell. Yeah. And that to me is like a huge turn off.
I hate that.
Huge turn off. Yeah. Like let's build a relationship, because we might be able to work together. We might be able to collaborate. You never know. I might be able to introduce you to my audience. And that's fine, but we have to build a relationship. It doesn't, it's not just about the sale.
No. Well, but then you've got the other side of that, and I totally agree with that. But there comes a time, I think, when we need to face the fact that if we're on, maybe not so much on Facebook, but if we're on LinkedIn, we're there for business.
Yeah, definitely.
We're there for business.
But I also think that there is a strategy behind it, right? Your LinkedIn page is where you share information, you educate your audience. I always tell my clients, when we're sharing content, we are there to inspire, motivate, and educate. Right? So on your posts, you do that. While you are engaging with other people's posts, you do that. I don't think that jumping into somebody's messenger on the first contact is the way to do that.
Yeah,
because you want to sell. You definitely want to sell. But there's a strategy behind it.
Yeah. So I have seen, and this gets a little frustrating, but I certainly understand it. I have got 4,000 people on my friends list on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Almost that many on Facebook. Some of those connections have been on there since I joined LinkedIn in 2008. Okay. I don't have a clue who they are. So I have started going back into those first connections.
Yeah.
And sending them a message and saying, we've been on each other's list for, 12 years or whatever.
Yes.
I want to know who you are.
Yes.
I want to know why we connected in the first place, and if there's still a reason for us to be connected.
Yeah.
I get some really nice answers, and then other times I get, what do you want to sell me?
Yeah, definitely. My strategy for that actually is when people ask to connect with me on LinkedIn, I will jump into their DMs, but not to sell. I would ask them, well, thanks for the connection. I will go through their own profiles first of all, and I would say, thanks for the connection. I see that you're doing so. How long have you been doing it? Tell me a little bit more about what you're doing. And my first few conversations is really about building that relationship, right? Because when people start to talk about themselves, you get a sense of, okay, what direction this conversation could go, what direction this relationship can go. Right? Because people like to talk about themselves. So,
absolutely.
Absolutely. So what do you do?
That's beautiful. And that's exactly what I do now. But I'm trying to reach back to these people from 12 years ago, and I'm going, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to start building this relationship that we should have created.
Yeah, because we connected for a reason. We connected for a reason. So let's finalize what this reason is.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
We're so feeling now like when somebody you don't know jumps in and tries to connect with you, that's what they're doing, is they're trying to sell. But they're very leery of wanting to really make this connection now. And they probably don't have a clue who I am either. You know, if it was a connect, they may not even still be in business, or their business, like mine, their business may have morphed completely into something different. And I think on the one hand, you've got to get, like I gave this guy last night a chance. You've got to at least give somebody a chance to try to build this relationship.
Definitely. And I'm also an advocate of, if we're not building a relationship, then we don't need to be. And that's what, for my email list, for example, my VA and I go through this exercise every month. I tell him, remove people who have never opened an email. Remove them. Right. And I'm
going through that right now.
At first he was like, what? But they could. I'm like, no, if in a month they haven't opened an email, I send an email every day. If in a month they haven't opened an email, they're not interested. So let's remove them from our circle and make space for people who actually want to build relationships with the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And I don't know so much about LinkedIn because I haven't focused a lot of attention on that. But I know for a fact, because I've seen it happen, when I go through my lists on Facebook and I'll go, I don't, this person's not right, you know, they, whatever, delete. I actually start bringing connection to the people that are still on it. And I'm able to see more of their posts, and we're able to actually create this relationship where we couldn't before, because thank you, Facebook, the algorithm wasn't allowing us to.
It wasn't triggering.
I think we need to be, and we've so totally gotten off the subject.
I know, that's okay.
But, I think we need to, going back to, we don't have the time, we don't have the energy, we don't have all of that. If we're trying to deal with people that are not truly our ideal clients, then that's a waste of time.
Waste of time, waste of energy, waste of resources. And I, a big proponent of surrounding myself virtually and physically with people who are ideal for me, not just ideal clients, but ideal energies and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So if you're not the ideal energy for me, then I don't need to have you around. No hard feelings, no, nothing personal.
Right. Absolutely.
But at this point in time, we're not supposed to be in each other's space, you know, and it can change later on, but at this point in time, it's not happening, you know. And I think that goes a long way in helping us push through when we have down days. Because for me, even though my assistants, and they would make sure that my posts go out or my emails go out or whatever, my clients, and I tell you, I love my clients, if they don't hear from me for one day, they will start to message me like, are you okay? Is everything all right? You know,
I love it.
Yeah. And I have a few of them would even be like, you know, do you need me to bring anything for you? Because I'm very open with them about my challenges, right? I'm open to them about if I'm not feeling well today, if I'm in pain, if I'm very, very open, because I don't want them to, you know, think that I'm trying to shirk my responsibilities or anything like that. So, and that goes a long way in just building that relationship with them. Because I'm open, it's easier for them to open to me, so that our coaching relationship just flows a little better.
Absolutely.
You know? Yep. So that really helps in going a long way. So I always try to make sure that the people who are around me, that their energy matches mine, you know, because I have clients who are also going through their own levels of depression and anxiety and pain, and, you know, and that kind of thing. So I can connect with them and they can connect with me, you know, and I think that's important.
It is. It totally is. And in fact, I have a private Facebook group where that's exactly what we do. a lot of these Facebook groups that deal with chronic illness are I call them whiners, because all they do is they sit and they whine and they moan and
Yeah.
oh,
That's why
why
I'm not
me?
in any, because I'm like, I can't, that's
No,
not the energy I need.
no. But my
Yeah.
group is,
Mm-hmm.
and if you do that, you're out of there. My group is all about being open. I mean, we talk about the issues that we're going through, but then
Yeah.
we talk about how we're climbing out of
Moving
them.
through it.
And
Yes.
and
Yes.
there's a camaraderie and a
Yeah.
support and a, hey, look,
Yeah.
quit feeling sorry for yourself, get off your
Yeah.
butt and
And
get going.
it goes back to what you said at the beginning, right? You have to make a decision. You acknowledge that, okay, it's not 100% today, but now I have to make a decision. What am I deciding to do
Yep.
about this?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
it cannot come to a standstill.
Yeah.
So yeah, make a decision.
Yeah, and I love this group because, and I'll start a discussion and I'll be telling somebody, well, this is the things that I've gone through, and I'm doing it not to be a whiner about myself, but to have other people open their eyes and think about what's
Yes.
going on for them and to know that they're not alone. And all
Mm-hmm.
these people start coming in and say, oh, Nancy, you've got this, it's okay. And I'm going, no, wait a minute, I'm not complaining here, guys. I just want you to know.
Yeah, just sharing a story. Yeah.
But that really makes you feel better when that happens.
Yes, it does. It does. And that's, I love my clients. If it's one thing, I love my clients. They have my back and they end up working with me for a long time. We go from project to project because it's that level of comfort.
Yep. Yep. That's it. We
Yeah.
need to have that comfort. We need to know that there are other people out there. We're not alone. We aren't going through this by ourselves. There are others there to support us and help us, and we can reach out to, and and I just love it. And I think that is the best spot to end this conversation on such a wonderful high note.
Yes.
So I can't believe we're well over our time already.
I know.
So I love it. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. And
not a problem.
2 questions for you. Number 1, how does somebody get a hold of you if they think, wow, she's really somebody I'd like to work with, I'd like to know more about her? Where do they find you?
Okay, so a few places, but I will direct you either to my Facebook page. You can search for me as Coach Adanna Austin, or for my business, it's Marketing Dynamics Business Solutions. So if you search for any one of those, even on LinkedIn, if you look for Marketing Dynamics Business Solutions, you would find me there. I'm very active on all of my platforms. I'm posting at least 3 or 4 times a day and having like real conversations with people. Good. So you can find me on any of those social media platforms. Coach Adanna Austin or Marketing Dynamics Business Solutions.
Cool. And we will share that on the show notes, guys. So, don't be afraid. You'll be able to find it.
Yes. And reach out to me and ask any questions that you want. I mean, I'm here to support you. And really my passion is helping others, helping others grow and really see their true potential. So reach out to me. Don't be afraid.
We are so much alike. I love it. The last question is, we talked about so many things today, but if there were one thing that you wanted to share that we didn't talk about, what would that be?
Ooh, that we did not talk about. We talked about so many things. That we did not talk about. I would say, wow. Because my main thing is that you have to understand that you don't have to do this thing alone.
Yeah.
You really just don't. I mean, people really feel that they have to do this thing alone, that they have no support, that there's nobody out there who's going to understand their struggles. And you really don't have to. I mean, there's help out there, there's tools out there, there are people out there who are willing to help, and you just have to make a decision to find them, and you will get the help. You will get the help. You don't have to do it alone.
That's a perfect way to end this conversation. Thank you. And guys, you who are listening, I want to thank you all for listening. And you really don't have to do whatever it is you're doing alone. That's the whole point of this podcast is that we have these wonderful people who come on and share with you each and every week something that they have learned that they are experts at, that you can be too. And if you listen in and hear what they're saying, you can learn, and you know that you're not alone either. So with that, guys, our message airs every Thursday evening at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard at don'twaittillpigsfly.com. And until next time, get out there, be productive, know you're not alone, and soar higher. Take care, y'all, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.